getting back to you with another video of Farming Simulator gameplay. After a, once again, very long absence, um, just got caught up in a bunch of things this year and was also kind of having some technical difficulties with my softwares that I use for YouTube here. Unfortunately, I was not able to get to said difficulties until things slowed down in regards to my lawn and landscape business. So now that it's wintertime and we've gotten our first round of snow, everything is all wrapped up for the season for the most part. And I wanted to, start using some of my downtime to start being a little bit more active here on YouTube again. Seeing as how I've said in the past that I was going to try and do better and never pull through, I really want to try to take the initiative to actually upload on a regular basis here now that it's wintertime and things are starting to slow down. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still have plenty to do to keep me busy, but it's pretty much at the mercy of the weather at this point because it's stuff that I really can't do unless there's a really nice day and the snow is gone. So I figured in the meantime I would be able to, get these technical difficulties fixed and um, see if I can get an upload out to you guys here. So far, everything is working as it should. I had some updates that I had to do and just had some stuff that I needed to go back through and check out and kind of fix. So, as of right now, we are back up and running. Um, I wanted to take the time to introduce to you guys a new series that I think I am going to create here on YouTube. Um, so obviously, I make the videos of us working on the farm, which I unfortunately have not been able to do in quite a while. Um, so I'm really hoping, starting next year, 2026, I'm really hoping that I can, get a little bit more content out for you guys in regards to our farm, because that's what started this channel and what have you. So really want to get back into that, but during the off season, I really want to try to get my gaming aspect of YouTube um, up and running again here. I tried it for a little bit, and then it kind of got a little slow. Um, wasn't really doing much of it, but now I'd really like to get back into the swing of things here. Um, I'm going to continue to upload videos of me playing FS25 with with the modern equipment that I have here. Um, most of the equipment is stuff that was already on FS25 to begin with, but there's also a pretty decent chunk of equipment that I have that are mods. So, and if it is a mod, I will try my best to remember where I got it from. It's really hard to remember where I've gotten my mods because some of them I get downloaded off of the game, and then some of them I get downloaded off of the Farming Simulator 25 mods website. So it's very hit or miss with my mods. If there's something on the game that I can't find, I usually go to the website and see if they have it. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into it here. So as you can see, we're on the main screen here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get things rolling here. Got all my mods here, and we're going to go ahead and get stuff rolling. So I guess while we're waiting for the game to load here, just to kind of give you guys a quick update on what's been going on. Overall, the 2025 lawn and landscape season, for those of you that don't know, I do own and operate my own business. It is a lawn and landscape business, and got a pretty decent amount of clients that I mow lawns for, install mulch, trim shrubs, keep those maintained. I do that kind of stuff, and I usually start that about the middle of April, and then it keeps me busy all the way up until the end of November. And then during December through February and sometimes March, I'm plowing snow for a family friend of ours that has some snow accounts. Um, so for him, he was able to justify the cost of buying equipment. He's been in business for a lot longer than me. He's been doing this for probably 40, 50 plus years. And back when he started, my area used to get a lot of snow versus now the snow has really slowed down. And if we get 12 inches in a year or in a winter, we're doing pretty good. So, and that's from December to March. So, a lot of the times it's basically just little dustings, here and there. And um, we maybe drop our plows maybe 3, 4 times, a year to actually push snow. So, unfortunately, now that things have slowed down, I just don't see myself getting into snow right now. I can't justify the cost of buying another truck, buying another plow, or buying a plow, and then buying a salt box for what little bit of snow we do have. I just don't feel comfortable, forking out that kind of money for what little bit of snow that we have. So I just work for our family friend. He keeps me busy during the wintertime when my business is slow. So to kind of give you guys a little idea of what kind of a map we're going to be playing on today, if you haven't read the information already, we are going to be playing on the Iowa Plains View map. It's a pretty decent sized map. Um, not a lot of fields. I mean, there's definitely a decent amount of them, but it's not like the whole. It's not like the whole map is peppered with them. And a lot of the fields on this map I've actually combined. So instead of having a bunch of fields, I've condensed most of them down into, I don't know. I'm probably going to say probably 10 to 12 fields, give or take, instead of a bunch. So um, looks like the game is going to get loaded up here in just a few seconds. So as far as the map goes, I have the grain production aspect of things going on, and then I just recently, here a little while ago, just started up a uh, cattle production barn across the street from the farm. So we're going to go ahead and give you guys a quick tour of the map, give you guys a quick tour of the equipment, and then also show you guys the equipment that we're going to be using for my new series, Farming Old School. So FS25 is now starting to get some older modifications or some older mods out there in regards to equipment that I really enjoy seeing and using. So we will go ahead and get it into that here in just a second. As soon as the game gets loaded up here, of course, oh, there we go. Okay, we are at 100%. We are good to go. So, right now it is May, and I don't have the map set up for seasonal growth. So that is why I already have crops that are ready in the middle of May. We got ourselves a oat field over here. And for those of you guys that know, or for those of you guys that raise oats, wheat, all that good stuff, that stuff is generally harvested during the summer. But even though I don't have seasonal growth um, turned on this map, I try to keep it as realistic as possible, and I try to only plant, corn and soybeans during the spring, and then try to harvest it during the fall. Sometimes go into December a little bit, and then I also try to get my wheat and oats and all that good stuff in the ground, um, as early as possible. I think I planted this in September, so I think that's why it's a little bit earlier than usual. So I'll probably, maybe in the future, I'll probably plant it just a little bit later, so that way I'm harvesting this during the summer instead of during May. So anyway, go ahead and give you guys a grand tour here of the map here, the general headquarters that I have here on the map. So for starters, right here, this is the house that I have here on the map. Can go ahead and I can sleep, and I can do stuff in regards to my character here. So got a couple options there at the house. So definitely make sure that I have a house that I can sleep and do all that good stuff in. So if we go ahead and we walk across the map here, going to go ahead and show you guys a couple of things over here. So to the left, got myself a liquid fertilizer tank, and then right beside that, we got ourselves a silo. So I got seeds in there for filling up planters, filling up my tender trucks, all that good stuff. Just downloaded a Top Kick mod that I'm going to be using for topping off my planter, all that good stuff, and probably put a fertilizer tank on the back of it so I can haul everything on one truck. So that is what that tank and that silo is for. Right beside my cold storage barn, which I'll get to here in just a second, is my diesel fuel tank. So this right here is what I use to fill up all of my equipment when it's starting to run low on diesel fuel. And then I got myself a great big, I think this is a 80 by 120. Don't quote me on that. But this is my cold storage barn. And inside said barn, we got my implements are all in here. So we got the corn head and the grain heads are over here, which the corn heads are Gearinghoff corn heads. They are folding double PTO corn heads. And then over here, I got two John Deere 62-foot heads for cutting beans, cutting wheat, cutting oats, all that good stuff. Back here in the corner, I got two DB120 planters. Then over here, I got two Case IH 495 high-speed discs. I went ahead and got them painted green since I have John Deere tractors, which I'll show you here in just a minute. And then over here in this far corner, I have two semi-trailers for hauling grain. These particular trailers can hold up to 2 million liters. So it works out pretty good. I have two in case I have one machine running on one side of the map and another machine running on the other. Sometimes I'll have one machine cutting and one machine shelling. So I like to have at least two of these on hand. So having the capacity for hauling the grain really helps me out a lot. Don't have to make a bunch of trips to the grain elevator, so that's really nice. And then obviously having the DB120s is fantastic too. Get stuff done just a little bit faster. And then having the folding corn head and the folding grain heads, those are also phenomenal too. I really like them, and you can really get some stuff done with this bigger equipment. So we'll go ahead and close these doors. And then we're going to go over here to my main shop where I can do maintenance, I can power wash, do all that good stuff. So inside this barn right here is where I keep all of my main equipment. So the combines, tractors, all that good stuff, they go in here. For combines, I have two John Deere X9 1100 combines that have the better capacity grain tanks on. So these machines can hold up to 400,000 liters. So that is definitely a game changer as well. I can hire an AI worker to run these machines, and I can let them go and do their thing for a long period of time without having to check them out. So that's definitely a game changer. And then over here in the corner, I got two John Deere 9RX 830 four-wheel drives on tracks. So I use these two tractors for working ground, and then I also use them for planting as well. So normally what I do is when I'm planting, I'll go over here into the maintenance option right here for customizing and repainting and repairing equipment. I'll go in there and I'll customize these tractors to have the narrower tracks for when I'm planting, and then when it comes time to do tillage, I'll go ahead and I'll switch them back over to these regular wide tracks right here. So that was what I was doing. Um, but right now, these two tractors are just mainly my tillage tractors now. I only had two tractors to do everything at one point in time, but I went ahead and I bought two Fendt tractors. These are the 1167 model Fendt tractors. These are now my planting tractors now. So I usually have these hooked up to the DB120s planting, and then during the fall I have the four-wheel drive hooked up to the discs that I showed you guys earlier. And then usually do fall tillage, and then during the springtime I just get the two Fendt tractors out, get them hooked up to planters, and we just start no-tilling into the stale seed bed from last fall. So I guess while we're in here, we will go ahead and we'll go to the back. We open up this door right here. I apologize if the background noise is a little loud. Normally I turn that down a little bit so it's not blowing out your guys' eardrums, but I don't plan on being inside any equipment or running any equipment. So if the doors and all that good stuff and the background noise is a little loud, I do apologize. So this bay right here, close this door. This bay right here is what is called the washing station, for washing equipment. So we got ourselves a nice 1500 psi power washer mounted to the wall right here. And all you got to do is just click your R key like you would normally for a power washer that you can move around or set. That grabs your wand right there, and then you can power wash equipment in here. I have not stored anything over here yet. However, if I do have something that needs to be washed, I'll pull it in here. I'll get it washed, and if there's stuff going on during the spring or during the fall, it'll sit here for the time being. But 99% of the time, stuff does get unhooked and put away. So that is the wash bay. And showed you guys the maintenance area over here. If we go behind the tractors, we got a few more bays. So just got, let's see, there's one right here, and then there is three more back here. I got my semi. I usually have two semis back here. I have one hooked up to the baling trailer that I have, which I'll show you guys here in just a second. But there's a bay right here for storage. And then if we open this door right here, there is three more bays for keeping stuff in right here. And then there's also one back here too. So quite a bit of storage on this shop. I really like it. Definitely has a decent amount of space. Like I said, I normally have two semis back here, but I'll show you the other ones across the street, which we'll get over there in just a little bit. So we'll close this door, close that door, and we'll go over here to the grain system. So this is what I use for storing all my grain. Right now, I just have soybeans in it for the time being. I'm going to get those hauled to town here eventually. And then the total capacity for this grain system is 16 million liters. So it is a pretty decent sized grain system. And then over here on the other side of the grain system, I have my corn dryer. So got a couple bins back here, got a loadout auger, got a dryer, and this is a AGI setup. And right now I don't have anything in it. Right now this is empty. But as you can see down here at the bottom, it can hold 60,000 liters of propane. And then as far as grain goes, if you go right here to this icon and you hit your R key, you can see all the stuff that you have stored over here. If you want to dry anything, your total liters of propane, and then your outgoing products are all down here. So you can hold 1.5 million liters of incoming material, and then outgoing products, you can hold 1.5 million liters of outgoing too. So all you got to do, let's just say, for example, you want to store corn. You just go ahead and you got to put the corn in the grain in the. You got to put the corn in the bins first, and then once you do that, you can go down here to the bottom when you click on activate, and it'll fire up the dryer and start drying corn for you. But as you can see, you can put other stuff in here too if you want. For me, growing up, we've only ever dried corn, so that's the way it's going to be on here. So right now it's inactive, obviously, because it is empty, so don't have anything in here. But in order to use this, you just got to fill it up. And then once you do that, you can go down here, click activate, and it'll start drying. So you really got to make sure you pay attention to how much propane you have. So right now I only got just a little over 2,000 liters propane left. So next time I use this system, I'll probably have to top it off. Because as you can see, I'm about out of propane for the AGI drying system. So that's pretty much the grand tour for the grain production aspect of things. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go across the street here. So, pardon the big stack of hay bales here. I learned that you cannot use alfalfa bales for making total mixed ration. You can only use grass hay. So luckily, I can take these bales and I could throw them in here for food. Just like so. So I ain't going to be out nothing. I'm still going to use them. So anyway, that's why that is there. So this is my cattle barn. Right now we got 200 head of cattle out to pasture right now. If we go ahead and we go back inside the barn here, as you guys are probably able to figure out, this is where the food goes for the cattle, and then you can also put bedding in here as well. Other side of the barn looks just like this, so I'm not going to walk down there. So yeah, got the area where the cattle can bed down and eat, and then you also have a tank here for what I believe is milk, but I have beef cows in here, so I don't have to worry about using that. And then right here we got the slurry holding tank for all the cattle manure that the cattle produce. So as you can see, we got 100,000 liters worth of slurry. The bedding is full. The food is not quite completely full. And then the offspring, we're going to have offspring in 3 months. The reproduction rate is 70%. Takes 10 months for the reproduction time. The health is 100%. And the barn can hold up to 267 head of cattle. Right now, I just have it even 200. So, and then right here, I use this rig for getting rid of the slurry. So this is my setup that I got for getting rid of cattle manure. And then over here, we got ourselves 2 bunkers for silage. I was experimenting a little bit, and I was at the time thinking I was going to need 2 bunkers, but I actually don't really need 2. So both of them have silage in them right now. The silage in here is ready for use, and the silage across the street is fermenting. And then over here, this little setup, this little bin setup, is what I use for making my total mix ration. So this mixes it and divides it all up to the proper ratios that you need. So instead of having a mixer and mixing it all by hand, I just keep these three. These three. Wouldn't necessarily call them bunkers, but you got one for silage, you got one for straw, and then you got one for hay. Your mineral feed goes right here, and then right here is where you would load up for the total mix ration. And then right over here, I got myself a little silo for mineral feed, so I don't got to go very far for that. So each one of these can hold up to 115,000 liters. So the hay is full. That's the reason why the bales haven't been used yet. But it looks like the silage, the straw, and the mineral feed will need to be topped off a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that later on. And then I got a couple sheds over here. I got hay and straw over here in this one. I did have equipment parked under this one, so it's empty right now. And then right here is the other bunker. So that is my cattle farm. And then last but not least, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go down to another farm that I got. There are 2 little farms that I did not combine. So what I went ahead and did was, so I have an excuse to buy some old school equipment and use some old school equipment here. I left the fields alone, and I don't know, I probably could have just tabbed into a piece of equipment that I have, but I probably would have had to have tabbed through the modern stuff to get to the older stuff. So right here are the 2 fields that I'm going to be using for my old school farming series. So right now we're starting off with 2 fields of corn, and then I went ahead and I built this shed so I could keep all my equipment down here rather than down there at the other barn. So it's all right here, don't have to do anything, don't have to haul anything. So right here we got some equipment for farming just these 2 fields right here. So for tillage, went ahead and I bought myself a 7520 4-wheel drive John Deere. This was a mod that I found on the Farming Simulator website, along with the disc that is behind it. This particular John Deere disc is, what's that say on the wing? A 630? 630 John Deere discs. That's what I got for tillage. And then over here we got the John Deere 843 head hooked up to a John Deere 8820. So FS25 finally came out with an 8820. I'm super excited for that. And then back here behind the combine, we have a 224 John Deere grain head. We got 2 Brent gravity wagons for hauling the grain away. And then right beside that, we have a John Deere 4440 hooked up to a John Deere 7000 Maximerge 6-row planter. So this is the equipment that I'm going to be using for my new series, Farming Old School. So those of you guys that like to see the older stuff in action, we'll be making quite a handful of videos of this equipment being used, hopefully, here in the near future. And then, like I say, these 2 fields behind us, this is where I'll be making all the videos for my Farming Old School series. So I'm kind of going back and forth between names, so whatever I have in the title of this video is or not this video, but whatever I have in the title for the new series that I'm coming out with, that's what I'm probably going to go with. So, in regards to the mods here, these are all mods. The 4440, the 6-row planter, the Brent wagons, the grain head, the combine, the corn head, the 7520, and the disc were all found on the FS25 mods website. So if you guys want the John Deere 7520, just go to the website, search John Deere 7520, and then for the disc, all I did was just basically search John Deere disc, and it pulled up this disc right here, this 630 John Deere disc. Then for the grain head, John Deere 224 grain head. For the combine, John Deere 8820. For the corn head, John Deere 843. For the gravity wagons, all I did was search gravity wagons and thought these would, work out pretty good. The John Deere 4440, I believe, came with a John Deere 4000 series pack. Don't quote me on that one. And then for the planter, John Deere 7000 series planter, and then this came up. So, many of you guys want this equipment. Like I say, it's all on the website, and I'm really looking forward to using this stuff. I really like watching the older machinery like this, still get used, and I follow a lot of guys and a lot of channels here on YouTube that have this kind of equipment. So I really like seeing the old iron, still being used out in the farms, all that good stuff. So, all right, guys. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed the rather long video. I rambled on a little bit more than I had anticipated. So I want to thank you guys again for watching. I want to remind you guys to please leave your comments down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you have a quick second, hit that notification bell so you guys can stay up to date with what is going on here on the channel. And until next time, I hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody is having a good start to the winter so far. And I hope to see you guys on the next upload, which I plan to get out to you guys here very soon.